Hey there, Brenda. Um, so I wanted to start by answering a few of your questions and then showing you the couple things that I've been working on. Um, I did look at this theme and I have started your website in it. I have some serious reservations about it, so we can talk about that. Um, but I can build something that looks exactly like that if that's what you decide you want. In the meantime, I just started building something else that I think you'll like. Uh, So to have a slider, a picture in the middle that changes would be a slider. The old and new fronts of the building, or a flyer. So I want to talk to you a little bit about flyers, and then, well, let's have a look at what I built here. So this is the front of the building that I found on the internet. And this could be a slider if you have the other, an old and a new, whatever. If this is the old or if this is the new, I'm not sure. Looks kind of like the one in the logo, so I really liked that. So this could be a slider if you want. We can make this image also just fit in here if you wanted, or we could move it out of the header altogether. So through this screencasting, it probably showed about here on a regular screen. So you're just seeing a little small bit, I think. But in general, this is also a slider. This is set up to show either your events or your news kind of posts. The cool thing about WordPress is a post can appear in many places depending on how it's categorized. So I just kind of set it up. There can be as many as you want here. I just made 2. You talked about the mystery photos, and I didn't have one, so this is a dance party at my neighbor's house. And when you click on it, you'd go to all of the bigger post with where you could comment. But just this part shows on the slider, and then I didn't see any on your website. I didn't see any events or like a calendar, although you talked about it in your email. So I just kind of grabbed, I think it's youth services. I just grabbed these. Each one of these could be an individual event, and they could appear individually as a slide on this slider, or down here a little farther, I put another section for upcoming events, and this could be under here. There could be like a box for each one, and I actually have some other websites I can show you where that's a working feature. I just wasn't sure. I included this. Oops, sorry. I included this. I can get rid of it. It's in if your staff, if you wanted to pick some books or recommend some books and change them up like once a month or so, that's pretty easy. And then we have your footer. You talked about the Google Map. We can put the whole map in here. There is enough room. That's generally my thing, is if there's room or not. But what I tend to do is leave it as a link in the footer, and then have a page called like Contact Us, and have it where they can either send you an email or like fill in a form, and you get an email, see a big map, see the address and the hours again, just kind of like that. So that's what I would really recommend. I did put your social media both in the header and in the footer. And it can be anywhere, different or bigger. Those were the 2 I saw from here. So this is a flyer. I think you talked about having a slider with flyers on the home page. And there's 2 things that I want to talk about with a flyer. So it comes in as an image, that this is one image. And what that means is 2 things. An image can't be searched by a search engine. So like when Google comes with it has a little search bot, and it looks at your website so that it knows what to say if somebody Googles, Princeton Public Library. It it'll be able to read your address, give them the phone numbers, but what it can't do is read an image. So all it's seeing here is image. It's not being able to read the words in here because it's like a picture. It's a representation of the text, not the actual text. It can read these because they're in HTML, they're in text, but it can't read this. So, a lot of times it's awesome. People use different brochure or flyer making software, and they print them out and they can put them all over town or at their library or on their bulletin board, and that's wonderful. And then they upload it to their site as a PDF or an image, and it can't be read by search engines, but it also can't be read by any accessibility software. So if somebody has a hard time seeing and they have software running that reads them this website, again, they're just hearing, need a library card, click here for more information, image, hours. So that's kind of the two things, accessibility and then search engine optimization, or SEO, that I would worry about with flyers. So on any site, I would recommend. I mean, you certainly can. I won't stop you or anything like that. I'll even help you. But if you upload that kind of flyer as a slider, it kind of doesn't help you out as much as it could if you just type it in and this is an image, obviously, it's Legos, but the text of what the thing is and when it is much better left in text that can be read by social media or by search engine optimization and accessibility software. So that's just something to think about. And then again, like I said, with the map link, let's see, what were some of your other questions? I put that on. Oh yeah, let's look at some of your pages. So the databases and the local history. So I made 3 different ways to see the databases, just so you could get an idea of what's possible. And then, yeah, I mean, this is sort of long. I would recommend maybe just local history or genealogy, but this works. It fits, whatever. I did just call it local history on this page title, but I could add genealogy. And then I also added a picture I found on the internet of I hope it's your town. And then I always like to include buttons somewhere in there that can help them give you money. And I also added one for how to get your library card because it seemed to be kind of like a main focus of your website. I thought I would continue that. I put them in columns. The more images, the better. If you have other ones, we could maybe have the county courthouse or what have you. Whatever you would like. And then the databases. So I have 3 ways I did this, and I wanted to show you different bits. So this is what I would call like a grid format, 4 across. I made sure there was an image for each one. There's some words for each one. When you click on them, it'll take you to the website anywhere. If you click anywhere on the box, you can move each one of these boxes. Could appear in other pages or other places. They're all independent of each other. They're just being fed in. So another way we could do that is a column. So this is a page that has a sidebar. We haven't talked about the sidebar yet, but you could have a sidebar, and this could have like a search the website, or it could also have a search your catalog kind of thing, and it could have a list of your events coming up, and I want to talk more about events in a minute. And this is just sort of a column of I alternated the images, but pretty much it's just a column of your resources, databases. Pretty standard. And the other way we could do that is with it much larger. Now you can see that I would need to get better images because these are starting to pixelate. So the ones that I grabbed off of websites are clean, but this doesn't have a sidebar, and it's what's considered to be like a full or wide view. So they're just larger, basically. But that's possible with any of these pages. I kind of like the box one myself, but that doesn't really, like, whatever you want is fine. This would be great if you had maybe a picture of the new library or the building or some of the people from the building fund or some other image. I think would be nice. If we could get some more images, that would be great. If you want any of this text like bolded or highlighted, we can do that. And I wanted to show you, and that just goes straight to your catalog. So that goes right to there. So I wanted to show you, so this is a theme called Divi, and Divi is, I mean, you can do whatever you want with Divi, but I wanted to show you one of the main features. You can edit it just like other WordPress things, just like normal, or you can use this visual editor. And I just kind of wanted to show you the visual editor. So I put this hours box here, and I put it what I would consider to be too close to the slider on purpose so that I could show you how you move it really easily. So you can just kind of move it. And I would probably align it with that if I was to do this. Yeah, so that's how easy it is to edit Divi. And that's kind of, I can explain more about that if you decide that Divi's an okay theme for you to use. The visual builder, I think, makes it a lot easier to think about placement of, especially of images and text boxes on a website. You don't have to use the visual builder. Again, you can edit it just like normal. Or you can edit it in code, or you can edit it in many different ways. So there's 3 different ways, and I can go into lots of detail about that as much as you want or don't want. Not a problem. So let's see. Events. I wanted to talk about events. I put a place here on this homepage for upcoming events. Like I said, we can delete it. Not a big deal. You could just have events show in this slider. Each one of these, again, could be an individual event or an individual slide, or they could all show up as little boxes underneath here. And I wanted to show you some other, so there's a couple different ways. Let's see, this library, they're still working on building their website, but this is a list of their events, the next 3, coming up. They also have, well, this is currently a list, but it can be a calendar. And what they're going to have is, this is a plugin called the Events Calendar. This one here by Modern Tribe. It's probably one of the best event calendars out there. This other library I was showing you, their website, they're going to use it for their whole community. So their city hall is going to be using the same calendar. Their Elks Club is going to be using the same calendar. It's for all community events. So they needed something a little more robust, and they're willing to pay for it. So this plugin is free, but kind of like the theme you had picked, and these are related. The free version is so robbed of functionality because they want you to buy the pro version. You can use the free version, but you're kind of handicapping yourself. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, and it also just doesn't have some of the basic functionality that you would want if you do a free version. So that's true of this and of your theme you had picked. Things I look for when I'm looking for either a theme or a plugin are how many people have an active installation. So this has over 800,000 people, and I think the theme you had picked had around 700, and none of those 700 had rated it. Well, this has many ratings, over 1,000, and it's a fairly high rating. So these are things that I look for, and how long ago it was updated. Those are things I look for when I'm looking at a plugin or a theme that I think are actually really important, that it's being used, that it's kind of worthy of your time. If you're going to bother with it, it should be functional. So that's just... So then I started looking at other event things and calendar things that are free. So these folks use a Google Calendar, and they have it as one of their tabs, and they also list kind of their events at the bottom. They also have on their home page the next upcoming event, and it just shows one. It's the next one, whatever that next event is. This is a slider. This could be a slider, but they just wanted one. And then they have their event list. And again, it's a Google Calendar, so it's free. There's different ways to show it. So these folks, they also have the Google Calendar. It's styled a little differently. It's taking up more of the page. And on their homepage, this is under construction. It's a sandbox. So they have an events list that looks like this, which I believe they call the agenda view or something like that. So another way to do it is how LoneCone does it. And I know you were talking about having booking a room, like the meeting room, and this library did it for free. There are other ways to do this, but this is a Google form that's embedded into the website. So the person just comes to the website and fills it out. And when they submit it, it goes to you directly in your email, or to whomever's email. And then they can approve it or not. Or they have this library has like 3 meeting rooms, so they get to pick which one. And then they can schedule it in. They also have their Google Calendar. Again, in that kind of events lists like this one was, except prettier and embedded differently, but it's the same thing. So I think for your question about an events calendar and a plugin, so I wasn't sure, like you said, but if not a Google Calendar. So yeah, it depends, like really what you're interested in. We can, like let's see, Levada, I guess it is. We can do this in the free version, this events calendar. Right now in this instance, it is the free version. It gives that kind of, when you hover over it, it shows you a little bit, and then I can make somewhere on your homepage or other page, I can make you that kind of like a blog roll of the events with more, and then if they click on it, they get even more. So that is totally doable with this event thing. It doesn't, however, have a way to schedule a meeting room. So I think you'd still need to do a Google form and embed that. I think that would really be the easiest way. But we can talk about that also. And yeah, we can totally make as many tabs as you want. So yeah, the mystery photograph thing, I think I already mentioned that. I just put it here on this slider. It can also be a tab or it can just be, oh, you see this mystery thing and you click on it. And I only put in one, so it's only going to take us to the one. But this could be a list of all of the mystery photos. And then if you wanted to know more about one in particular, you could click on it and see a place where you can add comments and the like. Yeah, so I think that's probably a good intro for it. So I did start working on this. This is the theme you had talked about. The thing I don't like about it, so the colors, I mean, the only thing they're going to let you change is that background color. The way it's set up, unless I hack into it and change the code, it's pretty much what you see is what you get, and there's not a lot of other things because they want you to upgrade to Pro. And then with Pro, you get all the better things and the more things. And when I did look at it, I mean, it's actually pretty cheap. But I looked at it on WordPress itself. Let me just do that again. It was updated recently, and that's good. It has 700 people have active installations. I'm one of those right now, and no one's bothered to rate it. The slider is only taking pages, not posts, and I think that's something that improves if you buy the Pro edition. So I'm certainly happy to continue work on this. I can also use Divi and build something that looks exactly like this, or find another theme that has the same look and feel to it. So yeah, really, just let me know what works and what doesn't work for you, and I can make it. Like I said, this Divi is pretty easy to use. So it's just kind of a matter of what is it that we really want to put in there, or what do you really want to have. So for the About Us page, and again, I use some stock images here of libraries, and pretty much everywhere I tried to add a place so they could donate or that they could get their library card. I broke your text into different columns, mainly to give it a different feel, so it didn't just look like large blocks of text. That's where images come in handy also, is to kind of break up those large blocks of text. It certainly doesn't need to be columns, but I would suggest something to kind of break up that look. We can use this look and feel to kind of highlight the folks that have made those kind of donations to your building fund that you might want to honor on the website or what have you, and we can do more of that. On the policies page, I can put in up top a kind of like a table of contents to jump to any of these. I can also make kind of more of a what they call an accordion style. And let me show you a sample of the accordion style. So, and this is another kind of thing I can build you pretty easily. They have 4 boxes underneath instead of 3 like that other one, and a main slider. But let me show you their FAQs. So this is what I was talking about with the accordion style. You click it, you get more information. You click one. So those your policies can be in this kind of style also, or anything like that. Again, these folks have a sidebar with all their stuff. You could have a sidebar. It kind of depends on what you're interested in. But each one of these could be one of those little accordion clicky thingies. Mainly so that you can see easily all of the policies or all of the things in a line. Or I can put in some sort of table of contents. But I would suggest something, otherwise you're just kind of scrolling. And this isn't all of your policies that I saw on your other site. Yeah. So there's more I can put them on. And we can do a button back up to the top if you want the more of a table of contents version. Let's see. I think they have. Yeah, this is a different calendar called My Calendar, and it lets you kind of sort really easily. You have to kind of click in to get any sort of information. It's not quite as pretty. They could have a picture, they just don't. But I could do something like that. Again, it doesn't have an automatic way to do meeting room reservations. So something to think about. But have a look at some of the other websites. Have a look at yours. I'll send the information so that you can find it on my server. Tell me what you like and don't like. Tell me what you want me to get rid of. Any feedback right now, totally cool. And I can change literally everything about this. Not a problem. If you don't like the curve there on that nav bar, I can change that to square really easily. So none of that's hard for me. It's just now it's a matter of like what you would prefer. So let me know. And again, I'm happy to make something that looks more like that other theme with a full slider and some boxes underneath. If that's what you want, not a problem. I can, like I said, won't take long at all. Now that I have most of your content entered in here, it's just a matter now about moving it around and making it look how you want. Like if you're like, love everything about this page except I hate that photo and I hate that font. Not a problem. I can change that. Do consider this idea of, it doesn't have to be library card and donations. Those are just the 2 I randomly picked, but I think they're some way to break up large amounts of text, some way to show off that people could donate. I think it's good. So let me know. And if there's anything I missed from your questions, again, let me know. Again, verbal, I agree. We can meet via Zoom or Skype or something like that and talk more about this. I know this has been a really long screencast, and thank you for sticking with me for like a half hour while I talk at you and click around. I know this probably painful having to listen to me for 30 minutes. Anyhow, let me know what you think. All right.